Hola, hola, buenos dias, G and Gs. I am Trekk with 2Ks, and this is another episode brought to you on Monday of Weekend Crypto. If you don't know, the basic idea is this. While you're out living your life, I'm over here catching these stories that happen on the weekend from a Friday to Sunday. And this weekend was pretty nice. So I know some of y'all was out there because I was running around too. I made some moves this weekend myself, but I still managed to keep track of some stories, and we're going to jump into that. And so here you go. Oh, if I didn't say it, by the way, I am Trekk with 2Ks. All right. So first story, right? Jumping into this. Crypto's unassailable use case, helping human rights activists. So this is the first thing that popped up on, CoinDesk, which was on Saturday that this got put out on. And the basic idea is that cryptocurrencies have a valuable or viable use case in countries where there is oppression. If you are a journalist, if you are just having it that you have an authoritarian government. So that's the whole point of what this conversation was about at the Oslo Freedom Forum, which is a 13-year-old event, as long as Bitcoin has been around, right? And so they go into some of the stuff. So it was interesting to read some of the names that were at this. So like Jimmy Song was out there. So, you know, he is making his point about how he sees Bitcoin being used and helping people, not jumping into the whole thing. This article is definitely a little bit longer. You see what website I'm on. You can definitely go through and follow up and read in more in depth on these things, and then also do some of your own googly searchy stuff. So that works out too. And where's the other couple of highlighted things that I went into? So Alex Gladstein, Chief Strategy Officer of Human Rights Foundation and the curator of the Financial Freedom Track at the Oslo Freedom Forum, was asked if he believes the activist community is warming up to crypto. He replied, the reason he incorporates Bitcoin content into the program is because many organizations are already using it. In some cases, they do, in some cases, they do so thank him. Well, they do so thanks him. What? Okay, sorry, somebody messed up on it. The point being is that one of the things we talk about as far as this technology and it's being open to different people, as well as governments and private companies, or at least that's the part that I make about it's open to everybody. Private companies, public companies, governments, whether they be a communist government or a democratic government or a Republican, whatever they are, this technology is open to them. Here we have it that in the case of being a human rights activist, this technology is open to those folks too, right? And from what Mr. Alex here says, organizations and individuals are already using it. And so I'm running through, because like I said, this was a longer article than I was like kind of expecting when I first saw it. And what was this one that I wanted to jump into? This one kind of got me because they brought up the stablecoin stuff, and they brought up this person here. Stablecoins also got some attention during the panel with Tether Chief Technology Officer Paolo Arduino and Ira. I don't even want to try to mess up your name. I'm not even going to mess up your name, okay? Now, the stablecoin aspect got me as far as, well, because I honestly think at some point, depending on the stablecoin, there's going to be a KYC push that happens in stablecoins. I honestly think that. And to date, there is no privacy features in any of the stablecoins. So I was kind of about like what was Tether doing there, but I understand, sorry, Tether, not Terra, Tether. But I understand as far as the use case for being able to have a stability of a lesser fluctuation in the currency while you're moving around within the other cryptocurrencies that have a higher fluctuation in their price value when you're then trying to use it for whatever it is you need. I get that use case part of it. I really do. But I was also just like, but are we having an honest conversation about where would this work long run? And especially because there is no privacy features within any stable coins right now, just saying. Another part that I think deserves some attention about this article in particular is that they talk about taking things with a grain of salt and what's going on in El Salvador. And this writer, who's also a human rights activist, brings up the point, Nelson Ruda, brings up the point that, like, listen, like, I hear y'all talking all fancy and nice about what this means for the big whale and the, you know, the Bitcoin maxi folks in regards to how they want to develop El Salvador into, what do they call it, Bitcoin City, but you're going to displace the people who live there now. The people who are on the ground, the regular everyday folks, they're not talking about this in big favor the way it's being reported out here. I think this is a valid point to get people to understand when it comes to this crypto thing. It's not all honky-dory bells and whistles. It's really not. But, you know, it doesn't sell the narrative when you tell the truth about what's going on and how it really works on ground. I appreciate that this person actually took the time to say it. I also appreciate that the author of this article included it in here, because they could have just sold the regular fluff and all of that stuff too. So I'm gonna give the author, who's the author on this? Let me jump back up. Who is the author on this? Sorry, I got a lot of stuff open, so my thing is moving. Anna Bayduk. Oh God, I'm horrible at names. My point being is, I like how she actually included the opposing side of not painting this whole thing as with rosy glasses. There's real applications. People are losing their homes in El Salvador off of Bitcoin City. So let's not paint this shit as though it's all honky dory. But yo, let me stop beating on the horse, right? We're moving on to this next story. There were a number of things that caught my attention. Another thing that happened, and actually let me do something really quick. I might have to pause this for a second. Let's see. Hold on, folks. All right, so jumping into this next story of what happened. And what happened was, World of Solana hackers get scammed into community sting. Now, you've heard us talk here on the Gentleman of Crypto channel about how, like, community policing is a good thing, right? We can do this when we gather together for positive efforts. And so in this case of some World of Solana NFTs that got stolen, the community came together and then they were able to basically get the drop on the person who stole the stuff. Now, here's how they did it though. And I gotta say, like, I'm kind of like, I'm not 100% certain how I'm feeling about the way the collusion worked out, even though the end result was a positive as far as regaining stolen items, namely NFTs and some tokens, right? Well, yeah, tokens, the Solana token thing for their platform. So basically what happened was there's a hack that happened on a Monday. The person stole like 25 or something NFTs. You get into, like, the way this played out. So let me get to this highlighted part here. The basic idea was the hacker drained a wallet of 109 users, resulting in 150 Solana stole. So that's over 6K. And then they took 25 World of Solana NFTs. And it was NFTs that were in the top 100 as far as value, whatever, right? Now, in response, these folks here, sorry about that, what is it? Quant Maven, Angel NFT, sorry, and Crypto Sil, and together with the Crypto Frog NFT, who's the dev person on the World of Solana's NFT project, they colluded together to inflate the resale royalties and then arguably bring the attention of the person who stole the NFTs themselves, right? So now this happens while asking the community to keep quiet. I'm actually amazed that the community was able to keep quiet about this, as well as that the hacker person wasn't paying proper attention. The bottom line point of this is the community came together, pooled funds. When the hacker saw that this was what the resale was going to be, they basically listed it on Magic Eden. They ended up buying back the stuff, and then they had a sniper person go after the hacker to get the rest of them. And then they also did it, they did it again for the tokens and got the person to sell them back when they sent the sniper person after them. And so, yay for community policing, but I'm not 100% if I really feel how this played out, because I don't know. Something feel kind of off, and how this could probably play out down the road on other kinds of hacks. I'm just saying, I'm not 100% copacetic with how this was done. Even though I get the end result of it. Jumping on to this next story, I'm not going to run too far on this. The bottom line is the new Luna 2.0 token coiny thing dropped on Saturday. I'm not going to run into the details on it, but the bottom line is you need to pay attention. So were you pre the drop, or were you after the drop? And what it means as far as you being either on the, what is it now called, the Luna Classic side versus the new Luna, which is replacing the Luna Classic is going to be the new name for the old Luna, and Luna is going to be the new name for the new stuff that's being dropped. And there's a whole bunch of other things that play into it. I imagine King and Zay will do a better job at breaking this down after this show when they do the live stream on Monday. And so that's why I'm not going into the too far details on it, because I suck at breaking down the number stuff. The point being is, if you got a bag of this, you might want to pay attention to how this thing actually works out. Just saying, not financial advice, but you might want to pay attention. Next story, and kind of tapping back into Dopon and some stuff that somebody is alleging. Notice that they put rumors right over here. Rumors. So there's this person online. You know how we got internet super sleuths, right? We got what is it? Internet damn, I can't even remember the name of the damn character right now who's a detective. But anywho, the point being is that this guy, there's a whistleblower and analysis dude, and his name is Fat Man Terror. Okay, whatever. But you know, it's crypto. We come up with the names that we do, right? The bottom line is he's insinuating that he has found evidence that there was a protocol, there's a wallet that is connected to the Mirror protocol, which is part of what was being used within the whole Terra setup network for the like liquidity pool funding stuff. And he's like, hey, the way that I'm reading this, as far as how I'm looking at the code, this thing was designed to fail, or at least be a funneling scam mechanism. That's what he's alluding to. This is a rumor. I'm not going to run too far in on this. Bottom line is, did I highlight anything else? I did not, because that was the only other part I wanted to cover. Considering everyone is talking about the Terra Luna thing, and yo, there are a number of other scenarios on how this Terra situation, this Terra Luna situation, is being contributed to other sectors that are not crypto directly, but somebody might have had some kind of tie in to this Terra thing, and it's messing up a couple of other businesses. I was talking with Crypto Blood earlier, and we're doing a live stream about what is it, Kata Kicks, the sneaker thing, and he threw out a hypothesis that's floating around there. Basically, it's going to be a hashtag like blame Terra or blame Luna when like businesses start going under. Bottom line. But jumping on to this next story, again, like you guys are seeing the website for what I'm on right now, so you can definitely follow up and dig in deeper on this if you want to. So jumping into this next thing, and I read the article and I was like, okay, so Algorand funds FlexID to offer Africa's unbanked self-sovereign IDs. Let me put something in quotes and caveats on this in the title. So self-sovereign is where you're not recognizing a quote, another authority to identify you as having your own inalienable rights. So the title itself is kind of screwy, whatever, right? Now I'm reading through, and for those of you who don't know what FlexID is, let's read the highlights, right? FlexID is a digital identity platform that aims to avail its decentralized technology identity network in emerging markets. In doing so, the firm hopes to help over 1 billion people that lack formal identification. Notably, this is FlexID's first funding deal. Now, that's not the important thing on here. Where is it? All right, this is the part that got me. The Algorand funding comes under the impact category, identifying FlexID as a catalyst for global financial inclusion. Specifically, FlexID intends to start by helping 400 million Africans who cannot access banking services because they lack identity documents. Now, actually, let me read this first line of this middle thing, and I'm gonna get into where these things connect at. Founded by Zimbabwean serial technology entrepreneur Victor, how do you say his name? Maponga. FlexID seeks to alleviate financial exclusion. Maponga created the platform out of frustration with the banking system, excluding individuals without identity documents. Now, interesting thing enough, right? I'm reading this and I'm like, I think I know this name, but I'm not 100% certain why. I met Victor in South Africa for, I forgot the name for the conference I was at, but it was in South Africa for 2020. And it was funny, we were having this conversation about privacy and digital identity, and he was still working on this and pitching it out. And he was like, listen, because I brought up this whole thing about privacy, and I'm kind of running in a tangent, but I'm gonna bring it back. He said to me, and he was not the only person who said this to me. He said, I was like, so how's your privacy stuff gonna work? Like, what is that part gonna mean? And he was like, listen, the way y'all in the West worry about privacy, that's not the same way we look at this stuff over here in the East. I mean, sorry, in Africa, and like in this region here. We're still dealing with the issue of, do you even have the ability to officially identify yourself to other individuals, agencies, and like organizations with a how to say this, a valid documentation or anything that can like be double checked or validate you as like, this is me saying who I am. You have people who have been born and are in full adulthood who never had any type of government-related documentation as to their age, their name, where they live, what they do, if they even have some sort of job. Like, that's a sizable portion of the issue in this thing. And when he said that to me, and then I had the other person who also said some stuff to me about like how it's a Western thing and how we look at privacy and the digital identity battles or whatever. The point being is that me being here in the US, X amount of you folks who are seeing this episode right now, we're looking at it from first world privileges. I'm gonna say privileges, right? And I remember when I was talking with him about what he was doing with it. By the way, shout outs to him for getting this deal in place. Granted, I might not be a fan of how it's executed, but that's whatever, bro. That's whatever. That's on me, right? But he pushed through the whole C-19 period. He still, you know, did what he had to do, and now he has this deal here. Now he's going to make some effective change in his local setup, in his hometown, in his country, in his region. Again, I might not agree with how the partnership and thing is actually working, but I can't tell the man what to do and how he do it. And again, I'm looking at it from this Western first tier country, you know, privileged position of, I want to value my privacy over having to worry about whether I even have a document that can say I am who I am. It's a different mindset and process. Let me stop beating this horse. Listen, I'm gonna stop beating the horse, but the point is that this situation has happened. So if you're interested in developments within Africa in relation to digital identity, and you can see what it does in other countries and regions, Algorand might be the thing to work on if you're looking to do some kind of development project. I don't know what you're doing, just throwing that out there for y'all. As well as it might be a play if you hold in some of their stuff. Not financial advice, just me, you know, throwing some things outside for those who are listening. Other thing that happened on the technical side, so Zilliqa releases SDK for Unity to onboard developers. To Metaverse Metaverse. Now, I was not familiar with what all of this was about, I will say that. And so what got me in this, when I was reading, I was like, okay, what does this really, really mean? I'm gonna go through it this way. Zilliqa announced its Metaverse as a service platform, Metapolis? I don't know, that just rolls off the tongue funny. Anywho, earlier this year, along with information that will integrate with Unity, Unreal Engine, and NVIDIA's Omniverse. Unity is one of the most popular game engines in the world, with titles such as Among Us, Pokemon Go, Hearthstone, and Fall Guys built on it. The bottom line and point of this whole thing is, on the back end, this company has come up with something that will arguably help make it easier for development, because they're making tools within this environment, as well as it can integrate with other blockchains. That's the other part of it, right? It will be able to integrate with other blockchains. And another thing that they noted was that they have KRBE. I don't know who that is per se, but according to the article, this is an industry veteran in regards to having experience in game development studios. So I guess we got somebody on our side. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but we're not going to dissuade having good talent in the space, right? So whatever part you come from, it's good talent, it's good talent. And so that means somewhere down the road, the services and products that come out of this person or the team of people who do this thing is going to be a good thing. I think the other interesting thing is that if you are a person who knows about GitHub and how to maneuver through it, you can definitely watch the progression of how the Unity's 3D SDK's current progress goes if you're into GitHub. If you're not a techie side person, it's okay. Don't worry. You can still figure out how to play the games when those come out. If you're not a gamer person, guess what? There's probably some other way, because there's going to be some token or something connected to something down the road on this. Nonetheless, I just had to throw this out here for the folks who pay attention to the techie stuff. This happened over the weekend. You might want to look into it. Jumping into this next story. India to roll out CBDC using graded approach, the RBI annual report. So India has been doing some, just like, what are y'all, you're trying to get some leg up, but then you do things that are like, nah, you're really not giving yourself a leg up. So let me just jump into the highlights on this. Further cementing India's decision to introduce an in-house central bank digital currency, CBDC, in 2022, maybe 23. I call them blue dogs. If you've listened to any of my interviews or conversation pieces, you know why I call it a blue dog. A matter of fact, I talked about it on the live stream we did the other day about like our Davos roundtable. So find that link and watch that, and I explained the whole thing of blue dog in that, right? Now, my other thing to go in on here is they're talking about rolling out with little to no disruption, but there's like a 3-step graded approach to how they're doing it. And I was reading through this and I'm like, I don't feel like y'all are giving me 3 steps to what you're doing. So based on the need, the RMD is currently examining various design elements of CBDCs that can coexist within the existing fiat system without causing disruption. Now, understand that you have your central bank that is going to issue a digital currency that they want to be able to push to businesses at the commercial level and at the retail level, which means you're doing away with what your retail level banks do. Like, there's no way to get around that. And so to make this argument of, well, we want to try to figure out how we can have these two systems exist, because right now, no matter what jurisdiction or country you're in, when it comes to the central bank does not directly deal with me or any other person as a regular citizen and everyday person in that society or in that economic system, right? You have the commercial banks that deal with me as far as if I have a business or if I'm doing like real estate related stuff or loans and things along that line, right? Not the central bank. They're talking about being able to do this. The other thing that got me in this was, again, they're doing it with the FOMO, well, with the FUD, trying to scare people on stuff, but there's no mention of identity in this. I think India has like 1 billion people in population. X amount of the people there have a bank account and such, but it still boils down to, you still have a number of people who don't have access to the banking system as it is now, because in part, they might not have any kind of documentation to be able to sign up for whatever the policy and process is for, India. So you have people who are outside of that system, right? How do you get them the CBDC if they're not even in the regular banking system and you don't even know who they are? Like, I don't understand how they're thinking of these things. It's going to be a shit ton of problems. And I'm seeing this across the board pretty much for all of the countries that are pushing out CBDCs and not acknowledging the digital identity part. The first iterations are going to be crap, at least in my 2 cents on how I look at it. It's going to be crap because you're not going to be able to capture the population segment the way you want to, at least the way that they describe what they want to do. Anywho, I'm running long on this. Let me jump into this next thing. I seen this story and I was like, wait, what? The university? USP? What? What's that? So Brazilian University, USP, will conduct academic research in the metaverse. So this is arguably a level of adoption because you have universities, the academia world is looking to do research into this. I have to say the caveats on this though. First off, USP, I didn't know was University of Sao Paulo. Second, the professor whoever, I don't even, how do you even say this name right now? Simpilakaya. I'm sorry, I don't want to mess up the name. I'm horrible at names, right? The bottom line is that the professor highlighted that this is the first time the USP had received a non-fungible token by a partnership. The token in question is a rare piece of land in the United States of Mars metaverse, which I'm gonna be honest, I have never heard of the United States of Mars as a metaverse. I was just like, why didn't y'all partner with somebody who was like more known in the space? It might be a local thing to Brazil. I don't know. I honestly did not take the time to look into who the United States of Mars is. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, right? But I just thought that was just like, all right, I guess. And I wonder like how much funding went into this, because that's the other thing. They don't even tell you how much money went into them to do this program. There was a partnership, they got an NFT, and is it just one NFT for like the department, or is it an NFT for the people who are on the team that are going to actually do the research? Not covered in this article, so it's like it's not necessarily the best article. What's the other thing that caught me about this? Oh, this dumb shit right here. All right, let me take that back. It's not dumb shit. But at some point, if y'all trying to get outside of Brazil, I know I'm not pronouncing that wrong as Radio Caca. It might mean something else totally in Portuguese. I get you. I'm just saying that might have to switch once y'all start getting international. That's my thought process. I'm gonna leave that there. Again, y'all see what side I'm on. You can definitely check out and read more into this article and see what Cassio Gusan is saying in their other stuff, because they might have did a follow-up on this. I don't know. Jumping into this last bit right here, here you have it. Bitcoin's network difficulty falls 4.3% to 29.897 terahashes, biggest drop in 10 months. Now, at first, when you read this article, you think, oh my God, something bad happened. The network is going down, da 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 da. No, that's not the case. Remember, we also do go through the adjustments that we have for the difficulty, depending on what's going on with the activity of the network every 2 weeks, right? Now, the all-time high, yeah, they get into that. I'm not even gonna get y'all lost on the numbers about this thing. The bottom line is that there is a cycle that happens with the up and down difficulty of the Bitcoin network. And as we still stand here, 10 plus years later, we're in the 13th year, Bitcoin has the most secure network, arguably in comparison to any other proof of work network, as well as proof of stake and the other consensus mechanisms that folks have come up with to date, right? We're like, when I say we, as somebody who is into the whole Bitcoin thing, I'm saying we in that sense. I'm not actually writing the code and all of that stuff. And I'm not a maxi, but I am a person involved in the Bitcoin part of the space. So I'm saying we. The idea in that, even though it went down, and for the previous years that the difficulty has gone down as far as the hash rate, it always goes back up. So the article kind of might be a fluffish, kind of a fuddy kind of piece, but it's nothing to quote worry about, at least for right now. Like there's nothing in this article that indicates to me that we need to quote worry. I will say though, on this other thing, and who was the person who wrote this again? Oh, Arjit. So Arjit, I was definitely at a loss for these two lines right here in relation to the overall article. And so Cointelegraph recently interviewed Diana Gonzalez, deputy of the Republic of El Salvador, to understand the social impact of adopting Bitcoin as legal tender. According to Gonzalez, El Salvador made a profit via strategic BTC investments and repurposed the fresh funds to build infrastructure like a veterinary hospital and a public school. Let me point something out. You know what? I'm gonna close out on this one right here. And let me point something out, right? You have one news source talking randomly about what's going on in El Salvador. Has nothing to do with the difficulty stuff going on, but for whatever reason, they decided to throw that in there. If you don't understand what's going on, the narrative of El Salvador as being a successful project and being synonymous with Bitcoin and the future of money and development at a nation level is being pushed into your face is the point, right? So that's one thing. But remember, I also covered the story about the forum as far as like human rights and activist stuff. And you got the person telling you from El Salvador, yo, they're taking people's homes in order to build this city. So for you to then turn around, and granted, it's not the same article, it's not the same news organizations, right? I'm trying to drive home the point of just because you see a positive light of story in one article, it doesn't mean that that is actually a thing going on. And the bigger point of, I cover these stories for the things that might not be on your radar, just to say, hey, here's something that might not, be of importance to you right now, but it might make a significance down the road, or it might have some relevance to what's going on with your life when you put it into play, or like in a thought process, not a thought process, but when you think about it a little bit more. Anywho, the point being is that stuff happened this weekend. I covered a number of stories. You can go through and look at the different sites to see if you want to dig in on anything yourself. Again, doing your own due diligence is something that we really try to promote here on the Gentlemen of Crypto, but we do understand that folks don't got the time. Like, we do this every day. We live in this space. We catch these stories. We try to give y'all what's going on to the best of our ability. And we know not everybody has the time to put in like we do, but we appreciate those of you who watch the different channels that we got. I appreciate you for watching what I got. I appreciate you for putting in comments on stuff. I appreciate the thumbs up. I appreciate the lurkers. I appreciate the trolls. And hey, I'm just thankful for the opportunity to be on one of the longest running crypto YouTube channels in this whole thing. The other one, and it's two Black channels, is my boy CBTV for Crypto Blood. So that y'all understand, the two longest running crypto YouTube channels, the Gentlemen of Crypto and CBTV. And I happen to be on both of them. How about that? Anywho, it's the weekend crypto. It's a Monday. I hope y'all have a good week. Have a productive over busy week. One.